Every once in a while, something weird happens, and it seems like the more you pay attention, the more often it happens. Today is one of those days. You see, it's May 2023, 5/23 if you will. I've been looking forward to 2023 for quite a while, due to that old-timey phrase, 23 skidoo, which seems like such an utterly bizarre way to say see ya or whatever. Anyhow, it's seeming like this is a good year to buy a snowmobile, particularly a skidoo. But that's not quite what I wanted to talk about. You see, besides the whole skidoo thing, there's more reasons to be excited about 2023. Some of you are probably already familiar with the 23 Enigma, but most of you are probably not familiar with the Law of Fives. The Law of Fives is much simpler to state and understand since it's a law instead of an enigma. It basically states that everything is either directly or indirectly related to the number 5. The 23 Enigma is simply a corollary to the Law of Fives, since 2 plus 3 is 5. Because of this, I've sort of celebrated my own made-up bullshit holiday on May 23rd, since that's 5/23. You know, kind of like how May the 4th is Star Wars Day. Anyhow, that sort of thinking makes the month of May 2023 even more important. It's a whole month of 5/23 instead of just a day, sort of like that holiday's golden birthday or something. Granted, this only makes sense if you follow the Vatican-endorsed Gregorian calendar, where May follows April and St. Patrick's Day wasn't all that long ago. Every St. Patrick's Day, this is where it gets weird. Remember when I said it was going to get weird? Every St. Patrick's Day, I'm reminded of James Joyce. We've had a particularly rotten spring this year, and for these reasons I found myself finishing the last bit of my whiskey and eyeballing my copy of Ulysses. I put the book on the kitchen counter where I happened to see some post-it notes that someone left behind. With a little fit of whimsy I wrote, "Mother, may I?" on one as I measured the remnants of my booze. I stuck it on the cover of my book and grabbed another post-it. 5/23, you see? Of course, it's the blarney that was infecting me. But what does it mean? After I sobered up, I prepared to go to work and put my book back on the shelf. Wouldn't want to be seen reading anything like that in public. Not at that place anyway. Instead, at work, I found someone's math scribblings on my paperwork. A very basic algebra, 7 equals 0.06 times x, solve for x. 116 and 2/3 they appeared to have calculated after some fumbling around. At the end of my night, when the day shift workers arrive and we pass the time with morning banter, the subject of good restaurants comes up. I mentioned El Capitan is one of the nicest local places I've ever been. I said, you wouldn't feel out of place if you wear a tie, which is pretty rare in these parts. I neglected to mention the Chippewa Club because it's more of a members-only type place, but it is by far the nicest restaurant in the area. The kind of place where you might expect to find someone reading Ulysses and sipping some Jameson. I've only been there once, but one time I played a gig at Blackstone Pizza, and the guy tending bar was named Malachi, and I met his mother who was there with her date who happened to be a former coworker of mine. On a set break, I read her bullshit tarot, and sometime that evening, I learned she was a manager or something at the Chippewa Club. What a neat place that would be to work. Well, would it be? Hard to say, I guess. 706, 706. Where did I remember that from? Was it 1 over Route 2? Close, but not quite. Ah, yes, the same neighborhood where the Ghostbusters got busted. There's the fridge. 7:06 a.m. On my way home that morning, I saw my love. I found my way back to Ulysses. I opened it to a random page and saw this. "May I?" he said. "The Lord has spoken to Malachi." He began to scribble on a slip of paper, take some slips from the counter going out. This was on page 192. 9 minus 2 is 7, minus 1 more is 6. Oh, that's only 1 away from 5. Haha. Then I pondered the prevalence of Joyce's choice to paint with a palette of snot green as I took my morning shit. Perhaps it was due to, in his time, the streets that were lined with consumptive spits. My mind drifted back to algebra 706, 706. What might I find on page 706? Alas, my copy ends at 682, but perhaps a glance at 607. 607, 607. Where do I know that name? Of course, it's the old highway. Atop page 607, it seemed to him as possible of proof as of confutation, and the nomenclature employed in its selenographical charts as attributable to verifiable intuition as to fallacious analogy. The lake of dreams, the sea of rains, the gulf of dews, the ocean of fecundity. There's a full moon out tonight.